Think of 78-year-old Woody Hall as not just tinkering with his toys, but transforming simple, offbeat ideas into reality and profit. What started as a hobby before retirement has become a passion ever since. Began after a boisterous game of bridge.
At that night, I heard all kinds of insults, not always at me, but at everybody, because there's no such thing as a good bridge player. Everybody makes mistakes. We got home that night, and I talked to my wife. I says, I think that I've had my first idea I think I can sell.
Woody combined the best insults with the facial expressions that went with them into bridge tallies, then later beverage glasses. He sold the idea immediately to one of the biggest companies in that business, and with royalties, he was hooked. Some samples of what followed after. This board game picked up on the 60s' most popular phrase. Mink cufflinks he sold eventually in every Hilton hotel around the world. The Good Egg Award took off with the Yuck It Up crowd. Who could do without this executive conversation piece, a novel way to unwind? And you've got to admit, what baseball fan wouldn't want a catcher's glove for change?
So what should you do if you come up with a great idea? Go to an invention marketing firm? Woody says no. The Federal Trade Commission receives complaints about most of them almost every day. Woody's solution? A self-help book he put together to guide others to follow in his footsteps.
Good ideas don't care who they happen to, and when one happens to you, you should do something with it. And your ideas may be worth a fortune.
Woody's fortune's not arrived, not big time anyway. No hula hoops, frisbees, or rollover pet rocks have originated from his brain yet. But hey, give him time. You'll find him on the lookout every day. In Lake San Marcos, California, Bruce Page, First Business. You won't find it on many maps, but somewhere on the back roads between Palm Springs and San Diego lies an oasis in the village of Santa Isabel. No mirage here. Bread and pastries that hardly anybody who passes through can leave town without.
It's very good bread. It's baked fresh daily, and if you walk in there and just smell, boy, I'll tell you, just the aroma is enough to make your mouth water.
It's an old-fashioned, I think, old-fashioned formulas that they use in here, and it's wholesome, real good, and we've been doing it for years. I don't know how many years we've been coming here. As we pass through here, we always stop to get a loaf or two of bread.
No question you'd find customers to buy your home-baked bread in major metropolitan areas across the country, but in the middle of nowhere, at least 50 miles from any town, no way is what everybody said.
Dudley's recipe is a formula for many other wannabe small business people. Create a quality product. In his case, no preservatives. Bake a broad selection for every taste and serve it up at a price that's right. Dudley's passed away by now, but his spirit and enterprise live on in the team that's carried on. And sure enough, with each passing year, more and more happy customers beat a path to this door.
Okay, we're in the middle of a recession, right? We are busier than we want to be. We have more business than we can handle, by far. That's why we had to close today. Because our hours are supposed to be 8 to 5, but for the last 5 weeks, we've had to close early almost every day.
That's almost 7,000 loaves of bread daily, not to mention pastries and goodies, pies and cookies of every description. A continuing testament to the can-do vision of a baker who, like poet Robert Frost, took the road less traveled by, a road that made all the difference. In Santa Isabel, California, Bruce Page, First Business. Nothing says lovin' like something from the oven, so they say. And nothing seems to say it better to Californians these days than what they find at this upstart restaurant chain. In just 7 years, California Pizza Kitchen has expanded to 25 locations. Far more impressive, it's become the highest grossing public restaurant chain per seat per square foot in all of America. Birthed by attorneys whose breakout fever just couldn't be contained, though their food business expertise was practically nothing.
We know what we don't think. We probably never would have got into it. Would have been scared out of our minds. But we didn't know enough to be afraid. That's not quite true. We were afraid. And I think
we didn't know enough not to do it.
I think our healthy fear is probably what made us succeed and probably still is the reason for our success.
We didn't realize how much we were really risking until we actually got into it. And then it was too late to turn back, so we had to go forward. I mean, our law practice, the day we opened the restaurant, literally stopped because clients didn't perceive we were serious lawyers anymore.
Ever since gold was first associated with the west coast of America more than a century ago, people the world over have been captivated with what's happening here. The founders have not skipped a beat in capitalizing on the Golden State's image.
A palm tree in the logo for starters, wide open spaces, no barriers, and a front and center kitchen where each meal is a production to behold as much as eat.
I think we brought something that isn't often brought to the restaurant business, and that's the eye of the consumer. Because we were really avid restaurant goers, and we paid a lot of attention as consumers.
Where most pizzas of the other guys are thick and gooey and gargantuan, here, baked in wood-burning ovens, thin crust, petite, lusty, adventurous flavors, what fans would say, a touch of class for under $10.
I think you'd call it a gourmet pizza at like a regular price, you know. That's what I would call it. You know, they're very, very innovative. Great, you know, different, weird, California.
Another part of the success formula?
We get rid of what we call the veto factor because we have fabulous pastas and salads so that people coming to the restaurant who don't want pizza will not stop the group that are going out to dinner from coming because they can get other things here that are equally as good.
The food it's not oily, it's not too salty, and they're unusual pizzas, but the thing I like the best is that the people that started it were lawyers and they quit their jobs to become restaurateurs.
Respected restaurateurs is now more like it, with solid clout when it comes to leasing new site space.
We always say we're a legend in our own minds.
But we were with one restaurant, so I mean, nothing's changed. Have we made it?
Yeah, we feel good.
It's a relative to, we're doing okay. We sleep at night. We don't worry about the next client coming in.
With gross sales of more than $50 million a year and a new California pizza kitchen being added every month across America, you can forget the legal shingle forevermore. In Los Angeles, Bruce Page, First Business. If it's something solid you need and as perfectly round as you'll find anywhere on planet Earth, consider this, your trail's end. You want big, you want small. You want hollow even, or smoother than a baby's backside. Nobody does it quite like Baltec Incorporated, masters of this craft for over 40 years. A most unusual profession. So what does the founder say when asked what he does for a living?
Oh, I say I'm the little old ball man. I make balls. We make balls, and I say it with pride. We really are rather broadly based in that we make balls from about 8 or 9 thousandths in diameter, clear up to 20 inches in diameter, and out of just any material you could ever imagine.
Cast iron, brass, bronze, aluminum, steel, and titanium. Or for more exotic needs, how about niobium, alnico, ceramics, or silicon carbide? In short, you name it, they'll make it and deliver it. 6,000 accounts globally now testify to that fact and gladly part with millions of dollars annually as fair exchange.
You get the impression this success story has a lot to do with a can-do attitude. For example, no matter what size or quantity the order, from $12 to $12 million, it's a matter of corporate pride to fill it.
It's a lot of the things that we do we don't make money on, but you have to think of the long-term investment. You know, you learn something with every job that you do.
And therein may lie a sad truth about America's industrial future, worries Gene.
All the countries that are doing well, that are prospering, all of those countries are making things. And we're saying, hey, we don't need to make things. We don't need to make things. It's crazy.
Whenever entrepreneurial small business people in America do get back to the basics of pushing forward technology as they used to, A greater cheerleader they may not find than the ball-bearing king who literally makes our world go round. In Los Angeles, Bruce Page, First Business. Sports fishermen, wherever you are, sit up and take notice. This may well be your dream boat, a swift and silent vessel to your goal. No more smelly, sputtering engine to frighten your finny friends far away. No, sir. Let us introduce you to the Soul Explorer Sneak Boat, named appropriately. Take a catamaran powered by electricity, make it rechargeable by the sun. Add on other features demanded by those who spend endless hours in search of fish, and this is what you get. With 60 million sports fishermen and women in the USA, the Sneak Boat would appear to have widespread appeal.
Well, you catch fish, number one. And one of the main reasons you catch them that we think is it's quiet. You don't hear it. You've got tremendous maneuverability. You can go anywhere with it, forwards, backwards, left, right. You can hold station, you know, in high winds, it's just perfect. You can get in and out of reeds. You don't ever have to worry about the thing tipping over because it's got flotation at all four corners, and there's virtually hardly any maintenance on it. You just take it in the water, you fish, you enjoy it. On the drive home, it's being charged up. If you want to plug it in a wall, you can charge it up that way. You get 30 years of free, clean fuel. I mean, how can you beat that?
Consider also fishing as a pastime is on a collision course with our ecology. As population increases, more of our lakes are used for drinking water, and a growing number of those lakes are now off limits to polluting engines.
We figure if a person wants to go fishing on these lakes, they're going to have to use non-gas power, and they're going to want something that really does the job, not just putting a trolling motor on a John boat. The one problem with that is that we wanted to start from the ground up with a dedicated design built around the motor. You're dealing with pretty small power sources here, so the hulls have to be really efficient. The way a boat uses power really breaks down to a ratio between the minutes that the engine is actually on to the minutes it's outside in the sun, and that works out to be really practical in this case. And even if there is no sun at all, you still have 5 hours of running time, so it's pretty practical.
There are many enterprises in America just like this one. Two gutsy guys in a garage get an idea, go for it, give it birth, refine it, then get stalled for lack of someone willing to capitalize and mass produce it.
Pete and John make no bones about it. They are creators, not marketers or manufacturers. For more than 20 years, their success has been in making plans for hobby projects promoted by major magazines. But their Soul Explorer Sneak Boat, they feel, cries out for commercial, not backyard development. So this idea, as great as it is, awaits an entrepreneur manufacturer to get it out there, eventually retailing it probably for $9,000 or less. In the endless contest between creatures above water and those below, you can bet fish are praying this brilliant small business idea sinks to the bottom of the sea. In Del Mar, California, Bruce Page, First Business. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's not a fictional person. It's a live, very alive human being who's literally gone over the edge.
If you think this adventure is little more than swinging from a tree, think again. These California cliffs are hundreds of feet high above sea level. If that is the risk, it is also the reward.
Near perfect conditions, say all who come here from around the world, because year-round, just the right winds hit these cliffs, giving all comers flights to remember, whether it's you that flies or merely your radio-controlled model airplanes. Hang gliding's barely a generation old, an extension of what began when barefoot water skiers were looking for a new thrill. Thrill seekers show up here at Torrey Flight Park every day. Vacationing Pennsylvania electrician David Benneman is typical.
When they first started hang gliding, I've always had an interest in getting up in the air, and it's the wind and the sea, and it's the whole romantic thing, I guess.
As with any developing sport testing the laws of the universe, there have been casualties, but structural problems are minimal today. Flyers are rigorously trained and tested before solos and have backup parachutes. In the forefront of safety, the sport and business of it all has been Bill Bennett.
I think the insurance statistics at this moment quote hang gliding as being the safest form of sports aviation there is. It's safer than skydiving, the statistics say, safer than hot air ballooning and general aviation.
The most recent trend is toward paragliding, thanks to NASA's research into a space re-entry vehicle for bringing capsules safely to Earth. If they could descend, surely they could ascend, somebody thought, with human cargo. Sure enough, they could, and so much more portable, so much lighter. The sport is proving appealing even to classy lassies.
It's much, much easier than you would believe.
What would ever possess you, I'm sure your mother said, to do something like this?
The thrill, the fun, the thrill, the excitement, the relaxation, actually.
There are now 10 times as many paragliders as hang gliders. Blazing the trail to making it a business is computer expert turned entrepreneur Marcus Salvamini, who designs, coordinates production, and sells paragliders and accessories.
Is it worth it?
I sometimes wonder myself. If I went back into the computer business, I'd be a lot richer than I am today. No, I think the fun of the sport, it's got a little niche, and it is growing. That's my light at the end of the tunnel. It is definitely growing. If it grows anywhere in the proportions that it grew in Europe, then it certainly will be a very profitable business.
If the widespread popularity of windsurfing today is any indication of the future of paragliding, Marcus' present small business could someday be flying very high indeed. In Torrey Pines, California, Bruce Page, First Business. The streets are tough in this section of Los Angeles. The kids who survive know all too well about the school of hard knocks. But economics, yuckonomics to this crowd, continuation students for whom learning in a classroom has just never been their bag. So what would you do if mandated to teach them the all too dismal science? Roger Cannon and colleague Diane Keenan co-authored a textbook like no other, called it Slam Dunk Economics. The formula? Capitalize on all teenagers' interest in athletes, musicians, and movie stars, and build economic terms around them. Talk about their decisions from an economic point of view, and where possible, bring such movers and shakers into the classroom.
No more teachers' dirty look. I don't have to crack no books.
You'd better believe even these kids can get into economics when they get to this chapter. All the costs and pitfalls of becoming a rock star. Even more so when they study about the baddest entrepreneur they know.
I'm one that believes it's okay to enjoy learning. It's okay to have fun. And if you get the message, that's the best of all worlds. I mean, it works.
I like this class. It's cool. Because the other ones are boring. I don't like them. And I've learned a lot in this class about the stock market, the economy.
In the future, I'm going to be dealing with money and how to handle it. And this class basically covers that. It prepares me for the future.
Singer-songwriter Harold Payne has faced many realities of the economy. His visit and insight are a bonus to this course.
In the music business, there are a lot of ways to make money as a songwriter or as getting your record deal or starting your own record company, but the process takes a long time, so you better love what you're doing and go into it because you like it, not because you're going to make money.
Roger Cannon's textbook is a lesson in small business enterprise itself, a gamble of well over $20,000 to research, write, and publish it. It's paying off as other schools across the USA are adopting it for their economics curriculum. But that's not the only reward.
The nicest part is when they come back, maybe they've been out of school a year or two and they come back and they say, I really like that class, I got some really good things from it, and I'm using them now, you know, and so then those are the rewards that we get as teachers. It makes it all worthwhile.
This may well be the best case yet of economics scoring a slam dunk indeed for young people everywhere. In Los Angeles, Bruce Page, First Business. If you too thought Grandma's feather bed was the ultimate, forget it. Especially all you 9-to-5ers, step into this business enterprise, a playground really, and you may never want to leave. Welcome to the world of Sequoia Creative, and creative they all are, designing settings, giving shape, providing near-perfect movement of every creature imaginable. Almost everything, it seems, short of the breath of life itself. Disney clearly paved the way for this industry of themed entertainment, but upstart Sequoia in less than 10 years has carved out its own highly reputable niche and is coming on strong. You want King Kong? You got it. In fact, merely describe it, and you get it in a matter of days. Sequoia's steadily blossoming success story is the stuff of business school classic case studies, presided over by a former military man, surely out of his starched collar element here, you'd guess, but...
What makes the company work is that there is a management organization in place who has an understanding for the industry and an understanding for the creative juices and their needs to be satisfied, and still maintain a business attitude without becoming so stoic that it's oppressive.
Okay, fine, but somehow doesn't seem to compute that the Pentagon could be a breeding ground for a purveyor of let-it-all-hang-out technology.
Having spent the time that I did with the Department of Defense, I would say that they've been pretty creative also. It's just that they are clandestine in their creativity. There is a transition. It's a natural transition. It's just changing the product. Rather than playing guns and bullets, we're playing fantasy, animation, entertainment, education. There is, I think, life after military if you get out fast enough.
Comforting news to those still in uniform, but there's more if Hollywood should beckon you too.
I think there's a warmth. I feel a warmth and a sincerity. There are collectively nice people who have fun doing what they do, and they want to share that enjoyment with other people, and they want to bring the enjoyment and pleasure to people outside of the industry. There is an awful lot of sharing and giving rather than an awful lot of taking.
Rewards there are aplenty ahead for president and company alike, it would appear. Disney builds only for itself, leaving a growing international marketplace for themed entertainment wide open to Sequoia Creative. In Sun Valley, California, Bruce Page, First Business. If you're over 40 but still feeling sporty, take a spin in the Maxton roller skate. Something about a wind-in-your-face roadster to make you feel half your age all over again. Not from Motor City, sprang to life in Denver. No assembly line widget this, a handcrafted, made with love, Complete it easily yourself. Component car of impressive proportions all around is what it is.
In the early days, kit cars were not synonymous with quality. There were low-priced things with bodies that you left a lot to the imagination. They weren't very good once you got them put together. We like to call ourselves a component car, and we feel we are in a whole different class because we are well-engineered, well-designed, the detail work has been done, everything is legal. Most cars in this category have some sort of simple four-cylinder engine, whereas we have a Wankel or rotary engine, which makes this car very technically interesting. Secondly, we have an actually well-engineered chassis, and the handling is fabulous. The handling is much better than, say, a 50s car. Our front suspension, for instance, was designed on a computer. It represents the very latest of the art of handling. Our chassis is very, very strong. It's about 3 times as strong as it needs to be.
A rich man's toy, some critics may sniff, but no child's play when you get behind the wheel. Put the pedal to the metal, and only 5 seconds later, you're at 60 miles per hour, en route to double that just moments later.
All fine and good, but at $20,000 plus for your basic skate and just a 2-passenger, no protection from the elements horseless buggy, let's get real here. Kind of impractical, isn't it?
What's nice is you can have a unique car and still have a reliable car. I've had an RX-7 before, and I know the engine runs forever. It's an unusual car. It's a car that not everybody owns. Sometimes it's good to have a car that's fun.
So there is a market for this gem, but the Valley of Dry Bones is full of startup enterprises like this that lack the capital to succeed. Why should this be any different? Bob Sutherland has made his fortune, now prepared to put what's needed where his passion clearly lies.
The primal delight is driving it. I mean, it is just so much fun to drive. You just feel the road. The car accelerates. The steering is terrific. The brakes are in pedals so that you can dance around and change gear. It is absolutely a blast to drive.
Maybe not a capitalist's best investment to battle all the odds to bring such a car to market, but measured by another yardstick, the joy Sutherland sees in those who get behind the Maxton wheel, a more fulfilling investment it'd be hard to beat. In Denver, Colorado, Bruce Page, First Business. It's a sport for kings, a sport for kids. And these days, everybody in between. Would you believe the ancient game of darts is coming on strong? Even stronger by adapting to the times, attracting a whole new generation of player with electronic soft tips, automatic scorecard, and interactive response to goad you on. Welcome to Darts and Things, a retail store selling nothing else. A rare breed of shop, thriving perhaps, because it is one of a kind for hundreds of miles around.
This is one of those businesses where if you can't bankroll it with a small fortune, you have to start really small and build it day by day. This enterprise began in the back of a wig shop on a $200 investment. Every dollar made for months thereafter was reinvested until it finally got off the ground and really took flight. Today we're talking $250,000 a year.
Meet the man who made it happen. Larry Hill blames his interest on one of his pals at work.
On Friday afternoons, he would take off about 6 o'clock every night. And I kept saying, "Where are you going? Where are you going?" He said, "I got to go play darts." And I said, "Oh, come on, nobody plays darts." He said, "Come along one of these nights."
Larry did, and as you'd guess, he was hooked.
Everybody I've ever met's got hooked on it if they try it more than one time. Takes about an hour. If you play for 1 hour, you're going to be stuck for 2 or 3 years. It's just that sort of a sport.
Need any more convincing evidence?
I was just sitting in a bar watching these guys throw darts, and they seemed to be having a pretty good time. And I thought, well, anybody could do that, so I gave it a try and got hooked on it just like everybody else. It's one of those things you just end up loving once you start playing.
It's just an addicting sport, I guess you could say. You go out there and you try it once and you see how well you can do, and you always just want to see, well, how much better can I get if I play a lot? And of course, the more you practice or play, the better you're going to get.
Historians say it all began with English soldiers who wanted to practice their spear throwing but couldn't in foul weather. So they developed short spears they could practice with indoors. Today, tens of millions of people all over the world play darts,